Energy bills should be up at an all-time high because I am the second most electrifying man that's gracing your TV screen. Shall I proceed and grab a third travel camera? Because, I hate taking apart my setups. Right now, I'm shooting on the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro as my talking headspace in this office, and then I have the Sony A7C set up in my creator's office. Shall I purchase another mirrorless body? Should I invest in another system? Should I stay in the Sony system? Or should I get another Blackmagic? Who knows? We're going to talk about specs and things that would complement my style on travel shooting or outdoor vlogging. We're going to get into it right about now. All right, enough of me being the cool guy with the shades as we proceed to the proceedings. One. Shall I go ahead and grab a third camera? I've been pondering and thinking about it. My travel style, is mainly run and gun for whenever I'm doing my vlogs. But for the most part, I just don't feel like taking apart my talking head setups. As I said before, I'm sitting here with this big clunky camera of the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. Great setup, good lighting, good fixtures. Everything around me is just perfect. I don't want to move it unless it's for a paid gig. If it's for a paid gig, then I'll take it off, pack it up, call it a day. In my creator space, which I shall be showing you in another episode, I have the Sony A7C. Yes, I've had many other Sony bodies. Yes, but I just felt more comfortable of knowing the camera in and out of the Sony A7C. It was small, compact. It checked the boxes for everything that I wanted and everything that I needed for my style. So I want to get into it about the specs of the FX30. Now the FX30 is an APS-C, aka Super 35 sensor, but it comes from the spectrum of downgrading from a 6K sensor to a 4K image. It has 4K 120, which is also cropped in just a tad bit at 1.6 on top of a crop. Secondly, the color bit rate is a 10-bit camera. Definitely something that is pretty budget friendly as far as like what type of lenses I could use on it. I could use Super 35 lenses, cinema lenses. I could use still photography lenses on the crop sensor factor. So it's one of the things that I like to think about because it's going to be small and compact for whenever I'm doing run and gun. Another thing is being able to provide 15 stops of dynamic range, especially when shooting in S-Log3. S-Log3 will be a good spectrum of saving your highlights and pushing your shadows and saving your shadows or whatnot. Being able to provide a solid image with high stops of dynamic range and crazy atmospheres, that's also important. But on the flip side of things, if I am going to do run and gun with it, because I don't think if I was to purchase the FX30 that I would be doing serious client work. I could do small projects, but I wouldn't see me showing up to a big set with the FX30 unless it was going to be used for a B or C cam, if they were shooting on set on a Sony. But it's a vlogger's dream, I would believe so, being able to provide a solid image. Plus, we also know about the autofocus as far as what the Sony system brings to you. They bring to you probably some of the fastest autofocus system possible. Also got the eye tracking, face tracking situation going on that's remarkable, that they've been using since the Sony A7 III, I believe. Since the A7 III, it's been blazing fast, and all their other bodies after. Especially even became more remarkable with the Sony A7S III. Yes, the Sony A7S III, which was remarkable as far as even pushing the boundaries on faster autofocus. So being that it has 10-bit 422 color, blazing autofocus, great color depth, good high dynamic range, it's definitely something that's a formidable opponent to the next camera that I'm going to be talking about. I've never dabbled in as far as owning or possessing a Panasonic, but Panasonic is the next thing that I want to talk about. I mean, Panasonic has developed a great following as far as from the video community and the cinematography community due to all the specs that caters to them. They've had great outputs with the GH5 and the GH6 somewhat, but the GH5 I felt was like a big breakthrough, and the S5 that came out after such was a budget-friendly full-frame camera that had some of the good specs that the GH5 had. Expect no less, because what I'm hearing is that it's a great camera, good high dynamic range when it comes to the Vlog, from the Vlog color space, 10-bit 422, also able to shoot open gate. Plenty of other modes that'll go ahead and cater to anamorphic, to open gate. It's one of those things to consider, like, hey, I can use a whole range and variety of lenses, but at the same time, it's like, would I want to go with third party, or I want to go back to the spectrum of the L mount? Do I want to go to the L mount? Do I want to switch bodies? It's something to think about. Do I? When I already possess E-mount Sony cameras and lenses, it's something to think about in the spectrum, but it's so enticing knowing that I could shoot open gate, knowing that I have the anamorphic modes, knowing that I have different types of slow-mo with no crop. And another kicker is that Panasonic has finally went to phase detection autofocus, which they lack thereof. I mean, from the GH5 to the S5, those bodies were remarkable with specs and great for the video community, but they just lacked autofocus. Now they're touching on decent autofocus. Comparable to the Sony? Definitely a behemoth of video specs on their behalf, meaning to cinematographers as opposed to run and gun vloggers. So it's like you have to compare what shooting styles, which one is going to be good for me and my shooting style. So as of now, I'm looking at price comparison and what do you get for the bundle or the body that you do decide to pick between these two cameras. I don't know which one. I'm still kind of puzzled of which one I might get or what might work for me. But as I see here on Amazon and the Sony store, they have the FX30 with the XLR handle unit and a 64 gigabyte tough card bag flex. You know, they always give these bundles. They always give these bundle packs. But the inclusive with the top handle XLR input, we're looking at about $2,500. Yeah, about $2,589. $2,589. I mean, is it bang for your buck? I think so, meaning that on the run and gun spectrum, you're using XLR inputs for sound. Great for documentary work, great for vlogging, great for run and gun work. You know, big projects, you're more than likely going to have audio support as far as like a team. You know, they're going to have an audio team together there to boom mics and do lavaliers or whatnot. I mean, that's a plus, and knowing that you get in cinema grade footage, that's another thing that's a plus. Great dynamic range. What is there to complain about? Great autofocus. So confusing when comparing these two cameras, but it's like apples and oranges. How can you compare? One is full frame, one is crop censored. So the aspect ratio of how the look is, as far as like in frame, is a little bit different, but high dynamic range, great color output. It's formidable. It's definitely formidable. I don't know how to compare the two. I'm confused. So then, on the flip side, at the Panasonic store, the S5 II is a 24.2 megapixel full frame phase hybrid autofocus new active IS technology camera that has unlimited 422 10-bit recording with a 20 to 60 f3.5 to 5.6 L-mount lens. Yes. And the price for it is $22.97. So there you have it. You have the specs on a full frame beast that caters to videographers and cinematographers. No bundle package, but does have a kit lens at a 20 to 60 full frame. What do you do? What do you do? All of his goodness, all of his modes, all of his slow modes, the unlimited recording and the 422 10-bit data space. What do you do? Someone who does talking headpieces and a lot of run and gun, and sometimes I do stuff for TV on a run and gun spectrum. What do I pick? Which camera should I go with? Check in the comments. Let's talk in the comments. I need feedback from all the viewers to just give me some insight. Which one should I roll with? Should I roll with the FX30 in its own right for its good bundle of packaging, that everything that comes with it, from the XLR input to the S-Log 3 15 stops of dynamic range and cinema grade quality and great autofocus? Or do I go with the S5 II with its full frame glory and all of its modes and its unlimited recording and open gate and all its add-ons? I would think all of its add-ons. Panasonic has always just been good in catering to cinematographers and videographers. So down in the comments, give me some feedback. I'm pretty sure I'll get back to you on this video, whoever gives input, and let's engage. And yeah, we'll decide if one of these things are going to be the next body that I go ahead and invest into. It's something to think about. And speaking of thinking, you should think about hitting that like and subscribe button. Turn your notifications on. Get the sound of that bell every time Big Hodge loads up another video. West Coast Hodge, talking tech talk, baby. Let's see what the next video is going to be. West Coast Hodge is signing off, and this is To New Beginnings.
Hey, a little housewarming. To new beginnings.
Actually, I gave this to you for your wedding.